right, listen up, because we need to have a serious chat about why you are probably making yourself miserable on purpose. Yeah, I said on purpose. Don't click away, I am actually trying to help you here. Today we are diving into a book that basically takes everything you think you know about your feelings and throws it out the window. It is called The Courage to be Disliked by Fumitake Koga and Ichiro Kishimi. Now, before you roll your eyes thinking this is some dry academic textbook, let me set the scene. This book is literally just a dialogue. It is an argument between a cynical, grumpy young guy who hates life and a chill philosopher who follows the teachings of Alfred Adler. Think of Adler as the guy who looked at Sigmund Freud and said, "Nice try, buddy, but you were completely wrong." By the end of this, you're either going to feel incredibly liberated or you are going to be really annoyed with me. Either way, it means you're listening. So grab a snack, sit down, and let's fix your life. And hey, while you're getting comfortable, do me a solid and hit that subscribe button. Like the video too, because it helps the algorithm show this to other people who are also struggling to get their act together. Also, drop a comment below telling me which part of this philosophy made you the angriest. I want to hear about it. Let's get into lesson number 1. This is the biggest pill to swallow, so we're getting it out of the way first. It is called the denial of trauma. I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, wait a minute, bad stuff happened to me in the past, and that is why I am the way I am today. Freud would agree with you. Freud says your past dictates your future. But this book says that is absolute garbage. This is the concept of teleology versus etiology. Etiology is cause and effect. I was bullied as a kid, so now I am socially awkward. Teleology says, no, you are socially awkward because you have the goal of not getting hurt again, so you create anxiety to keep yourself inside the house. Let me give you an analogy to explain this because it sounds harsh. Imagine you're at a restaurant and the waiter spills hot soup all over your brand new white pants. You jump up and scream at the waiter. Now, if I asked you why you yelled, you would say, I yelled because he spilled soup on me. That is cause and effect. But Adlerian psychology says, no, you didn't yell because of the soup. You yelled because you wanted to intimidate the waiter and make him submit to you, and the anger was just the tool you pulled out of your pocket to achieve that goal. You manufactured the anger to suit your purpose. Here's another one. Let's say you want to be a novelist, but you never actually write anything. You say, oh, I'm just too busy with work, or I'm too tired. The book says you are not writing because you are terrified of submitting a manuscript and having someone tell you it sucks. So you create the excuse of being busy to protect your ego. You want to keep the possibility alive that you could be a genius if you only had the time. It's a defense mechanism. Basically, the book is telling you to stop blaming your childhood, your ex-girlfriend, or your high school math teacher for why you are stuck. You are stuck because staying stuck is comfortable and changing is scary. You are choosing your lifestyle right now, even if you think you aren't. Moving on to lesson number 2. All problems are interpersonal relationship problems. This is a bold claim. The philosopher in the book says that if you were the only human being in the universe, all your problems would vanish. If there was nobody else around, you wouldn't care that you are short or that you don't have a six-pack or that you're broke. Money only matters because other people have stuff you want to buy. Beauty only matters because you want other people to look at you. Let's talk about modern dating for a second. You know that feeling when you're scrolling through an app and you feel like garbage because everyone else looks like a supermodel on vacation in Italy? That is an interpersonal relationship problem. You are comparing your behind-the-scenes footage with everyone else's highlight reel. If you were the only person on Earth living in a cabin in the woods, you wouldn't care if your hair was messy or if you were wearing sweatpants for the 5th day in a row, you'd just be warm and comfortable. The misery comes from the competition. It comes from the feeling that you're running a marathon, but it's a race against yourself, not the guy next to you. If you can shift your mindset from enemies to comrades, your stress levels will drop faster than a crypto coin in a bear market. Now we get to lesson number 3, and honestly, this is the one that changed my life. It is called the separation of tasks. Most of our problems come from intruding on other people's business or letting them intrude on ours. The book asks a simple question to determine whose task something is. The question is, who is going to receive the result of this action? Let's look at a classic example, studying. Parents are always yelling at their kids to study, but ultimately, who receives the result of not studying? The kid. If the kid fails the test, the kid doesn't get into college, the kid has to deal with that. So technically, studying is the kid's task, not the parent's task. When parents force their kids to study, they are trespassing on the kid's task, and that causes conflict. Now, I know what you're saying, but I just want what's best for them. Sure, but you cannot live their life for them. The book uses the old proverb, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him drink. Applying this to your adult life is a game changer. Let's say you're afraid to start a YouTube channel because you're scared people will leave mean comments. Separation of tasks says this: making the video, that's your task. Whether people like it, hate it, or leave a comment saying your voice is annoying, that's their task. You cannot control their task. Trying to control what other people think of you is like trying to control the weather. You can bring an umbrella, but you cannot stop the rain. If someone dislikes you, that is their problem, not yours. Let me repeat that. If someone dislikes you, that is their task. It has nothing to do with you. You are free to do what you believe is right and let the chips fall where they may. This is where the title comes from. True freedom is having the courage to be disliked. If you are not disliked by anyone, it probably means you are lying to everyone just to keep them happy. Lesson number 4 is about why you are so obsessed with being praised. The book calls this the desire for recognition. We're trained like dogs from a young age. You eat your broccoli, you get a sticker. You get an A on the test, your mom buys you ice cream. We grow up thinking that if we do good things, we will get a reward. But the real world does not work like that. You might work your tail off at your job, and your boss might not say a word. You might hold the door open for someone, and they might just walk through without saying thanks. If you are doing things just to get that pat on the head, you are going to be miserable. You are living your life according to other people's expectations. Imagine you're dating someone, and you buy them expensive gifts constantly, not because you want to be nice, but because you want them to praise you for being a good partner. That is manipulation, not love. The book says you need to contribute to others not for the praise, but because it makes you feel valuable. It's about self-worth. You wash the dishes not so your roommate says thank you, but because you like living in a clean house and you want to contribute to the household. The feeling of, I am useful to my community, is the only reward you need. It's like when you see someone return a shopping cart to the corral in the parking lot. Nobody's watching. There's no applause. They do it because they have self-respect, and they know it helps the next person. That is the level of Zen we are aiming for here. Lesson number 5, horizontal relationships versus vertical relationships. This ties into the last point. A vertical relationship is where one person is above and the other is below. Boss and employee, parent and child, teacher and student. In these relationships, you have praise and punishment. The book argues we should aim for horizontal relationships. This means seeing everyone as equal but different. We are not the same, but we are equal in value. Here's the kicker. You should not praise people. I know that sounds crazy, but think about it. Praise is a judgment from a superior to an inferior. If I say good job to you, it implies I'm in a position to judge your performance. Instead of praise, you should use encouragement and gratitude. Instead of saying, good job cleaning your room to your kid, you say, thank you for helping keep the house clean. It sounds subtle, but the difference is huge. Praise creates dependency. Gratitude creates connection. Think about it like this. If your friend helps you move a couch, you don't say, good boy, you lifted that very well. You say, hey man, I couldn't have done that without you. Treat everyone like that friend. Treat your boss like that friend. Treat your kids like that friend. It removes the hierarchy and stops you from feeling like you have to perform for people. Finally, lesson number 6. Live in the here and now. We spend our whole lives looking at the past or worrying about the future. We think of life as a line. We start at birth and we move toward death, and we have to achieve these big milestones along the way. The philosopher says, life is not a line. It is a series of dots, a series of moments. If you think life is a line, then you are only happy when you reach the destination. You are miserable during the hike because you just want to get to the top of the mountain. But what if you die before you get to the top? Then your whole life was just a struggle for nothing. Adler says life is like a dance. When you dance, you aren't trying to get to a specific spot on the floor. The point of dancing is the dancing itself. You don't dance to get it over with. You dance to enjoy the movement right now. If you are studying, don't just study so you can pass a test in 6 months. Study because you're curious right now. If you're working, don't just work to retire in 40 years. Find meaning in the work you're doing this very second. Stop waiting for your life to start. Stop saying, I will be happy when I get that promotion, or I will be happy when I get married. That is a trap. You can be happy right now by choosing to engage with the moment you are in. Imagine you're eating a really good burger. You're not thinking about the next burger you're going to eat in 10 years. You're not thinking about the burger you ate last week. You are just focused on the cheese and the sauce happening in your mouth right now. Treat your whole life like that burger. So, let's wrap this up. The courage to be disliked is not about being a jerk. It is not about going around offending people.
It is about realizing that your life is yours to live. You have to accept that you cannot change the past. You have to stop seeking approval from others. You have to separate your tasks from their tasks. You have to see people as equals, and you have to live in the present moment. It's simple, but it is not easy. It takes courage. It takes the courage to look at someone who is disappointed in your choices and say, I'm okay with that. It takes the courage to be normal. It takes the courage to be disliked. But the reward is freedom. Total, absolute freedom to be the person you actually want to be, not the person your parents or society or Instagram wants you to be. Look, I know this is a lot to process. You might need to listen to this again, but if you take even one thing from this, let it be the separation of tasks. Next time you're stressing about what someone thinks of you, just remind yourself that is their task and go back to doing your thing. If you enjoyed this breakdown, please destroy that like button. It really helps out.
Subscribe if you want more videos like this where we decode complex stuff and make it actually useful. And seriously, leave a comment below. Tell me, do you have the courage to be disliked, or are you still trapped trying to please everyone? Let's talk about it. Thanks for listening, and I will catch you in the next one. Go be free.